We're live!
If you needed some sort of sense of how... Now look at that. See, we're that far behind that you're going to see me come rushing in.
It's okay. We already have a joke.
From El Puppy?
Yes, thank you. Why do fish live in salt water?
I won't look at it. Because they travel in schools.
No.
Because they want to have a real good brine.
Oh, that's
Yeah?
pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Because pepper water would make them sneeze.
Oh,
That's a
El
good one.
Puppy, you pain me. You pain me. You guys, I had a copy of the agenda, and then somehow
In the shenanigans of the last live cast,
we had
lost
we
them.
had an athletic competition that Robbie soundly lost in the last half hour. She wasn't going to tell you about that, so I had to. Let's do this.
All right.
Salutations!
Oh.
Exclamation point.
The fancy word again.
Okay, but then the next item falls off of that one. Matthew shares his feelings about exclamation points.
Oh.
Here's the thing, you guys. Now, this is a little bit snooty of me.
It is
but,
very snooty.
But
of you.
I do not believe in exclamation points. I believe that if you have done your job as a writer well enough, you will have conveyed the enthusiasm with the nature of your sentence or the context or some other set of clues, not having to rely upon a flimsy piece of punctuation to telegraph your excitement. That is my case, and I am going to tell you, my editor has also concurred that no book should have more than 3 exclamation points during the entire book. That is how rare they should be. That is how you should use them sparingly, only when you have to. That is my opinion. Robbie, it looks like you have a different opinion. I saw your face was a face of skepticism, judgment.
I have a different opinion, but I think my objection to your opinion is your rationale. You were saying that it's a flimsy piece of punctuation. It is, in fact, an extremely powerful piece of punctuation that is undervalued for its power. If you use 3 of them in a row, you are saying this isn't as strong as it is. What is amazing is a simple line with a dot at the bottom of it can change what you're saying from I have a can to I have a can. I don't know why I picked can. That's a weird word to pick.
Robbie loves cans. Robbie, and you guys don't know this about her, but if Robbie has had a really good day and she wins a race and a prize, I get a can of green beans and I hand it to her and I say, "Here you go!" exclamation point. And I tell you, you won't hear the end of it. She will just go on and on and on. She will run around the block with glee. All right. I want to tell you one more thing about exclamation
But I would
point.
use an exclamation point at the end of my sentence when I said it.
There is a piece of punctuation that is perhaps my favorite piece of punctuation, which ironically does include an exclamation point, and it's called an interrobang. Okay?
The only reason you like that piece of punctuation is because of its name.
That's not
Have you
true.
ever used an interrobang in your life?
Every single Real McCoys book has an interrobang or 2 in it, and every single Cookie Chronicles book. In fact, I was told by the same editor to calm down my use of the interrobang because of my enthusiasm for it. The interrobang, my friend, is a question mark followed by an exclamation point. And for someone like Moxie McCoy, who asks a lot of questions, but with such zeal and enthusiasm, the interrobang is a particularly useful device for a writer to convey with elegance and poise the excited nature of her interrogative statement. Robbie, proceed.
I feel like if you have an objection to an exclamation point, you can't not have an objection to doubling down and adding a question mark to the exclamation point.
Did you just tell me I could not have an objection?
Yes.
You are reaching inside of my soul and purporting to know what's right and what's wrong?
Your rationale is weak.
You're overstepping your boundaries, my friend. All right. Let's see what's happening. Now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know how I feel. And you can decide which one of us you want to ally yourself with. And you can keep that opinion to yourself, because I'm afraid you'll agree with Robbie. If that's the case, keep it to yourself. All right, here we go. Matthew tells about interrobangs. Matthew reads Chapter 8 of The Real McCoys. That's not quite right.
That is
because
false.
I wrote the agenda before I realized the Chapter 8 of The Real McCoys is 40 pages
super
long.
long again.
And we don't want you all to grow beards by the time the chapter ends.
Let me tell you all something.
Oh.
I think in the course of writing several more books, Matthew learned that he needed to make his chapters shorter. So The Real McCoys has the longest chapters, and then in subsequent books, they get shorter.
I like Robbie's assumption that Matthew learned anything. Robbie does not understand me. I learn nothing. I stick exactly how I am in perpetuity because I am so I change. I learn. I grow. Just like all of us. I'm a malleable soul. All right. Chapter 8, my friends. Yes. Criminal masterminds. Hello, Everett. Hello, my cousin. Is he my nephew? Is he my...
I don't know. We're weirdly related in some...
He is my relative. I value him. I like him.
El Puppy agrees with me. Thank you, El Puppy.
El Puppy, you're... It's because Robbie likes your jokes more than I do. I think that's what it is.
I love his jokes.
I know you do.
Or her jokes.
Oh, El Puppy, yeah. Jokes. El, if you want to tell us your actual name, we would love to know.
No, you don't have to.
I said if. No,
you're not supposed to encourage that.
All right.
Well, we will use your screen name.
Well, no, I just...
But if you could tell us your pronoun, that would be helpful.
Tell us your pronoun, so we can prefer to you correctly. Yes. All right. Chapter 8, Criminal Masterminds. Mrs. Breath gives me a horrible glare as she writes me a hall pass. Clearly, she loves it when kids get in trouble and thinks she should have the greatest job in the world because she gets to see it happen all day, every week, 9 months of the year. Something tells me that when she gets home at night, she sits on her couch and makes up scrapbooks about all the kids she made cry that day. When I get back to class, Mrs. Bunyan gives me the deepest sort of scowl. She dislikes nothing more than when students miss spelling tests. I show her my hall pass and give her a smile to let her know I'm really sorry, even though I'm absolutely not. She takes away an owl point anyway, because I didn't come straight back to the classroom after recess. That's 2 in 1 day, she says. 1 more and you'll earn a trip to the principal's office. I consider telling Mrs. Bunyan that I have just come from the principal's office, where Principal Jones and I have been working together on a top-secret plan to solve the crime of the century. But I don't, because I have important work to do, and because I do not want to lose another owl point. It's a well-known tiddlywump fact that if you lose 3 owl points in 1 day, you get straight to Principal Jones. Well, you get sent straight to Principal Jones, which is why I always make such a point of always stopping at 2. I open my binder to take out my math homework and discover a folded piece of paper that someone must have slipped inside. It reads, "Important information, confidential, read right away." My heart begins to pound. Obviously, this has to do with the case. Maybe it's an anonymous tip from someone who saw Tracy stealing Eddie. Or perhaps, knowing that I have her cornered, Tracy has written a full confession and has left it here for me. I hadn't expected the case to be wrapped up this easily, but clearly my reputation precedes me. Glancing around the room to make sure no one is looking, I carefully unfold the note. "Dear Slim of M and Incorporated, I would like to hire you to solve an important case. Moxie seems to have lost her comb. I hope you can help her find it. It is an emergency. Tracy." Of course I am tempted to run my fingers through my hair, but I don't want to give Tracy the satisfaction of thinking that she has even sort of hurt my feelings. And so I fold the note and slide it into my pocket and try very hard to distract myself by thinking about Maud. Eventually, however, I can't stand it anymore and sneak the tiniest glance over at Tracy, who is looking right at me, while combing her long, blonde hair. As Mrs. Bunyan starts handing back the graded spelling tests, I decide that my new life goal is making sure Tracy gets sent to the kind of prison that does not allow dental floss. When Mrs. Bunyan gets to my desk, she smiles in a worrisome way and says, "You'll be getting your own special set of words when you make up the test during second recess." She says the word special, the way a police dog might growl at a burglar who has stolen the bishop's silver candelabra and is cornered in a dead-end alley. I look over at Tracy just as Mrs. Bunyan is handing back her test. I try to read her expression as she looks at her grade, but her face is so perfectly blank that it's impossible to tell whether she failed or got a perfect score. Ditto Tammy. I see them both trying to look at each other's grades while pretending not to look at each other's grades. Tracy is using one hand to cover her grade and her other hand to hold her purple pencil. I know with 100% certainty that Tracy Dublinger took Eddie, but how do I convince Principal Jones? I need another piece of evidence, and I will get it, even if I have to floss it out from between Tracy's smug white teeth. The lunch bell rings, and we head to the cafeteria. The Dublingers sit where they always do, directly across from each other, and as close as possible to a table full of 6th grade boys. I will deal with Tracy in a minute, but first I need to check on Milton. It's the last thing I feel like doing, but I promised Mom. Plus, I figure it might cheer him up to know that I've made progress in the case. Milton is sitting next to his friend Avery. I give Avery a look. Not a mean look exactly, but an "it's probably better that you sit somewhere else for about 5 minutes because I have to talk to my brother" kind of look. The look works. Avery moves down a few seats. He doesn't actually cry, but I can tell he's considering it. I sit down next to Milton, who is chewing with determination. "It wasn't Bob," I tell him. Oh, Moxie's not chewing with determination. "It wasn't Bob," I tell him. He chews and chews and chews, and eventually swallows. "I know," he says. "You know?" "Bob is left-handed." "So?" "The Gracie fingerprint was on the left side of the knob," says Milton. "Bob ate the donuts with his left hand. If he had opened the case, the thumbprint would have been on the right side." "I know that," I say. And I do know it, of course. I have just been too busy dealing with the pressures of managing such an important case to consider that particular detail. It's the sort of thing that Maud would have figured out instantly. "How did you know about Bob's donuts?" I ask. "Bob eats donuts at recess every day," says Milton. "Usually glazed, but sometimes chocolate, and every once in a while strawberry cream. He always keeps them in his left coat pocket." Part of me is impressed, and the other part thinks Milton should spend more time playing at recess and less time studying Bob, Tuttleman's secret snacking habits. I decide that it's probably best not to tell Milton about my conversation with Principal Jones, except that I am very proud of it. "I am working with Principal Jones to solve the crime," I say. "Really?" asks Milton, wiping the lens of his glasses with his shirt. Clearly he is very impressed. "Yes," I say. "And while I was in her office, I discovered another clue." "What is it?" says Milton. I know he's excited, but even when he's excited, Milton is about as lively as a tired turtle. When he's not excited, he's about as lively as a dead turtle. I tell Milton about the purple pencil, and even before I can tell him I think it's Tracy Dublinger, he says, "So, you think Tracy Dublinger did it?" I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Tracy Dublinger's opinion of purple pencils is so well known that even first graders are aware of it. "Isn't it obvious?" I say. "Maybe," says Milton, "but there are other people who use purple pencils." "Who?" I ask. "I'm just saying it's possible." I want to point out that it's also possible an ostrich will suddenly crash through the lunchroom window playing a flugelhorn, but I decide to keep this observation to myself because Milton looks like he's on the verge of figuring something out. "What else can you tell me about the pencil?" asks Milton. "It had a bunch of little bite marks along the sides." I wish that Milton would say something more helpful than "Did you tell Principal Jones that Tracy did it?" "Nope. We need to find another piece of evidence. It's very important not to jump to conclusions." Milton looks at me as if I've just said something really wise. "That's true." "I just need to figure out where Tracy stashed Eddie." "If she took Eddie," Milton reminds me. I give Milton a pat on the back. I admire him for trying so hard. He's a smart kid, but there's so much he doesn't know about the world. He's just in first grade. He cannot ride a unicycle, and he doesn't have an insect named after him. This problem isn't going to be solved by standing here chatting with Milton. I need to talk to the owl thief herself. "I need you to do me a favor," I say. "My hair. Does it look okay?" Milton looks at me as if I've asked him to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. "It hasn't fallen out or anything. Is it straight?" "I think so." "Is it or isn't it?" "A few of your hairs might be a little bit sideways. Could you smooth them out?" "Do I have to?" "Yes." "Will it help you find Eddie?" "It absolutely will." Milton reaches over and kind of pushes my hair around. It's impossible that he has made the situation on top of my head any better, but I think of what Mom might say, and it goes something like this. "Whether your hair is straight or 100% messed up, you are still 100% you, which is 100% great, maybe even 110%. Which is to say, look out, Tracy Dublinger." I give Avery a little nod to let him know that he can move back to his original seat, but from the look on his face, I get the sense that he feels more comfortable staying down there at the far end of the bench. I take a deep breath and walk over to where Tracy and Tammy are sitting. They seem to be sharing one gigantic sandwich, each eating from an opposite end and handing it back and forth between bites. I do not plan on sticking around long enough to see what happens when they get to the middle. I decide to go for the jugular, which is how Annabelle Adams describes what she does when she knows who committed the crime and is trying to find that critical piece of information she needs to prove it. I do not entirely know what a jugular is, but that is not going to stop me from going for it. "Hey, Tracy," I say with the extremely calm and self-confident demeanor of someone who does not care in the slightest what her hair looks like. "Can I borrow your purple pencil?" Tracy looks at me as if I've just asked to borrow her underwear. "No way," she says. "She won't even let me use her purple pencil," says Tammy. "And I'm her favorite person in the world." "Second favorite," says Tracy, correcting her sister. I wonder for a moment who Tracy Dublinger's number one favorite person is, but then I realize, of course, it's Tracy Dublinger. I decide to keep pressing my point. "I just wanted to make sure you still have your purple pencil," I say. "I wanted to make sure that you didn't, for example, drop it somewhere when you were doing something or other on your way to the nurse's office this morning. I suppose you could argue that I'm being pretty obvious, but I want to make sure that Tracy knows that I'm on to her, that there's no escape, and that the best thing to do is make a full confession and turn herself in to the authorities at this very minute." But she doesn't squirm. She doesn't look the slightest bit guilty. In addition to being a criminal mastermind, Tracy Dublinger is one of the finest liars I've ever encountered. "Could you please move along, Moxie?" says Tracy, flicking her wrist as if she were waving away a swarm of gnats. "You're blocking the view." Tracy is looking over my shoulder at something, and so I turn to look, and that something is Darren Duncan, an oversized sixth grader with long arms and bushy eyebrows who has been described to me as dreamy. I can't even pretend to know what that means. I decide to leave the Dublingers to their sandwiches and their view. But as far as I'm concerned, I have more than enough evidence to put Tracy behind bars until she's 93 years old. I head back to let Milton know I'm on my way to see Principal Jones. When I walk up to the table, Avery spills his milk, and then he starts crying. "It isn't Tracy's pencil," says Milton, before I can open my mouth. "Of course it is," I say. "It's obvious." There's no way that someone who cares so much about her teeth would have chewed on her pencil like that. I feel like I've been punched in the gut, but as much as I have to admit it, Milton is probably right. Tracy is neat and proper in every way and always keeps her desk and school supplies incredibly tidy and organized. I once saw her get offended when someone sneezed on the other side of the room. The mere thought of getting flecks of purple paint stuck between her perfect molars would be enough to send Tracy off the deep end. But if the purple pencil isn't Tracy's, then Tracy definitely isn't the crook. I'm devastated. Tracy seems so much like an owl thief, but a true detective knows not to argue with the evidence. So I take out my notebook and cross off her name, confident that she will commit some other awful crime soon enough.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that is where we will add, in retrospect, a chapter break that probably shouldn't have been there, should have been there in the first place. So there you go, my friends. Now we have finished the first half of Chapter 8 of The Real McCoys. If any of you missed the readings this weekend because you were off doing things with your family or in doing things with your family or just doing things, you can go back and listen to the recordings. We have all of the recordings archived on the YouTube page. There's a channel or a folder or something called playlist. That's what it's called the Real McCoys, and you can have the ones you missed. Did we get anything over here that we need to?
Yes, we got a question from Al Puppy, but I don't know if questions are on the agenda yet.
All right, let's see. You know what? I don't think I put questions on the agenda today. It's my effort to shut down El Puppy. All right, Matthew draws, and you try to guess who he's drawing. We have a little activity today, but you know what? We can answer El Puppy's question that relates to Real McCoys first.
El Puppy is a she.
Oh, okay,
Girl
cool.
Power.
All right, El Puppy.
Yes.
Yes.
Did Matthew write the Annabelle Adams books?
All right, Matthew has written an Annabelle Adams book, and let me tell you the full story. Matthew was sitting at his desk over there, when his desk used to be over there, and I was sitting there writing, and I was saying, oh, I love Annabelle Adams as a character. I'm really glad that Moxie has her. I'm glad I put her in the Real McCoys. And Robbie's like, Shh. What did you say? You said
No, this is not how the story went.
I don't remember. I don't remember. Tell me.
No, the story went, Matthew was fretting.
Yeah.
He had some extra time on his hands.
This is what it looks like when I fret.
Yes. When Matthew has nothing to do, this is what happens. Matthew likes to be busy at all times.
Yeah.
And so he was fretting, and he said, I don't know what I should be working on right now.
Is this really what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like I have work stuff to do, but I don't really want to be working on that. Like, I want to work on something creative, but I don't know what it is. And I was like, why don't you write Annabelle Adams? And he was like, why would I do that? We don't have anything, we can't sell it or anything.
There's no purpose.
There's no purpose.
I only do things with hard-hitting purpose.
If somebody asks him or forces him to do it.
And I was all sort of rude about it.
Yes, he was very rude about it.
And then And then like 3 days later, I had written a big chunk of the Annabelle Adams book, and then a few weeks later I'd written the whole thing. Yeah. So, Annabelle Adams Volume 1 exists. It is perhaps my favorite thing I've ever written.
We might read it. I think maybe we should read it once we get through the McCoys.
Maybe we will. It's not illustrated, so it won't be quite as delightful.
No.
But anyway, I did write it. I love it. It's available if you want to read it on the Real McCoys website.
Are they based off of Nancy Drew?
You know what? I've got to tell you, I've never read Nancy Drew. So I know that Nancy Drew exists.
Nancy Drew's very serious and admirable.
Nancy Drew. Annabelle Adams.
Yeah.
She herself is relatively serious, but she lives in a crazy world.
Crazy world of chaos.
It's very funny. I think you shouldn't say your own stuff is funny.
It's absolutely super funny.
It makes me laugh.
I think it's the funniest thing that Matthew's written.
So anyway, we'll read it to you later. It exists, and we hope that someday it's published or made into a story of some sort. So okay, that's what we know right now.
We're getting a please and a yes and a ooh.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that feedback from the Ziskovich contingent. All right, so Robbie has given me a drawing slate.
Okay.
And you know what I didn't do, Robbie?
What didn't you do?
I didn't come up with a list of people to draw. So it's your job right now to come up with that list while I start doing this.
Okay,
so here's the game, you guys. I am going to draw characters, and you tell me... Oh, but I'm allowed to use source images, aren't I?
Yeah.
So, but you guys can't see it. All right, I'm going to draw, and then whoever guesses first wins a prize that we'll never send you. Okay? So we'll say that the prize that we're not going to send you this time...
Maybe Matthew will write you a song tomorrow.
Well, Robbie, you can't make that promise.
Oh, sorry.
But I'll try. Okay, so I'm going to draw, and you guys let me know when you know who I have drawn. All right, here we go.
All right, yikes. What's happening there?
Well, I feel like there's probably...
Oh, there's a mustache?
It feels like there's a cheat that I could do to make this too easy. So I'm trying to see who can get it from other clues first.
Okay, so I see a mouth.
Yeah, this is going to make
You've got fish scales? Aha!
Right.
Oh, I think I know who this is.
Yes, but do our friends below? You're a little bit more used to dealing with the vagaries of my drawing style. So, who did I create here, you guys? Yeah.
Sometimes if Matthew keeps going, it makes
it gets worse. Yeah. Do we know who... I don't think I've done a very good job of making clear what's happening
Batman
here.
says,
yeah.
We got lots of Batman.
All right.
Wait, I want to point some things out.
Can you save my Batman?
I can.
Okay,
good.
Hold
on first.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to zoom in.
Okay. What are you going to show the people?
I'm going to show the people... Well, I think this comes from you not being familiar with the tools.
I do not know the tools.
Yeah. So this lip, bottom lip, I don't know what's happening. He's got a scar. I think this is scarred Batman.
Scarred Batman? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, I think he has sort of a poetic elegance to him.
Yeah.
I think he has a dignity that we should respect.
I think the beak confused me at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think you did a good job recovering.
Thank you. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can you save that so I can post this on the Facebook page afterwards and we can do a little Matthew draws in retrospect?
Yes.
All right, who should I draw next?
You know what? I gave you a gray pencil, so I'm going to give you a black
Thank
pencil.
you. Maybe a little bit thicker line too.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a sense of who I should draw? Oh, I know who I'm going to draw next.
Okay.
Okay. But I need you to not let the children see what I'm picking up right here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We will see how this goes. All right. And then you guys, what I want to do after this is have you suggest someone for me to draw. And I will do it, okay?
All right. We got some ears, some eyebrows. Some little eyes. Oh, hold on a minute. The Joker.
The Joker? No, I've left the land of Batman now.
Oh, somebody thought maybe it was Eddie the Owl, which was a good guess for the last one. Oh, that's a dead giveaway.
I mean, poor. Did anyone get it? They're going to.
Not yet. Yeah. A human, Superman. See, this is what happens with the delay a little bit.
I'm going a little too long.
Figure it out.
I'm going to give up because I don't want to make it any worse.
Moxie.
Yay!
Good work.
Uh-oh.
Now, if Matthew had followed their directions yesterday on how to draw Moxie and Milton...
I drew her eyes too big. Can you go back a couple of steps? I should have stopped when I was ahead. Yeah, go back one more step. There we go. There's my Moxie. Okay, so let's You know, I shouldn't be allowed to erase. That's for sure. All right, what do you guys want me to draw next? Who should I draw? You guys tell me. If there's... And boy, poor Moxie. This is like old Moxie.
She's gotten a little wrinkly. She's got a little sag to her
Old,
jowls.
malnourished Moxie. Mm-hmm. All right. Yes. Well, okay, so everybody got it. Good, you guys. Thank you. But who should I draw next? Because we don't have a lot of time left. If I look at the agenda, I am supposed... You tell me who to draw is the next item on the agenda. Robbie, do you want to whisper someone in my ear?
Who...
Moxie on the top of a train going fast. Yes, good job, Ray Ray. I like that. She's a demon Moxie.
She's like...
Yeah, you guys are right. You're not wrong about that. Come on, here's some... Who should I...
Spider-Man.
Is who they want me to draw? Mm-hmm. Okay, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Oh my gosh.
Maybe Bill Nye the Science Guy.
I don't even know who that is. I mean, I've heard of him, but I don't know what he looks like.
Oh my gosh. What?
I don't like science.
What?
No, I believe in... I believe in fiction. Whenever I have to come up with any sort of science...
We're getting divorced like 5 minutes from now.
I like science. I like science a lot. Okay, here is Mr. Nye. Robbie, I don't want boxes.
Sorry. Try again.
Okay, here we go. He has a very long head. This tool is a challenge. Oh, uh-oh.
You have to pick it all the way up. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, I lost his ears.
Sorry.
Okay. Here we go. We're really corrupting their understanding of the artistic process by having you watch me draw. But I guess the point here, guys, is if you like to draw, draw. Yeah. And I do like to draw. Oh, Bill Nye the Science Guy is looking up. That wasn't my plan, but he's looking up. Oh, he has these very strong lines right here. And he's got a little bit of a thing right there. His chin is not quite that pointy, for the record, friends. But let's see. He's wearing a nice little shirt. And he has a little bow tie on.
He always wears a bow tie. That's his thing.
Oh, he always does, guys. Yes. That's why I would have known if I'd paid attention. All right, here we go.
If you knew who Bill Nye was...
I do know who he is. I just don't know what he looks like. There's a difference. I know who Spider-Man is, but I've never seen him before. Here we go.
I think actually this is pretty good, Matthew.
Thank you. Oh, he has some very distinctive eyebrows. And he's got a little bit of a sort of forehead wrinkles here. Here we go. And he's got a little bit of a sort of underneath his eyes. I feel like that's not the worst drawing ever.
You did a great job.
Thank you. A little bit of a here. There we go. Oh, I like how pressure sensitive this is. I really do. It's the stylus. By that I mean, you guys, if you don't press very hard, you guys,
it makes a light line.
It makes a light line.
Like if you were using a real.
All right, there we go. I think I'm going to stop before it gets any worse. I'm going to show you guys what I used as my model for Bill Nye the Science Guy. I'll hold it up next to the actual. So there you go. I mean, I don't think anyone would get that. We can put that on Facebook and see if anyone actually guesses. But how much time do we have? Do we have time for...
That's pretty good, man.
We don't have time. I was going to have Robbie draw me and me draw Robbie. We'll do that another time. Because we have run out of time with you today. Yes. What does that say? What did I say that offended you? Was it my claim that I didn't like science? Because I do like science. Science is fascinating and wonderful and explains the world and allows us to make sound decisions and stay healthy and protect things.
Yes.
Science is good.
And yet you still didn't know what Bill Nye...
I have heard... Why would I know what he looks like?
Because he's a television personality.
I don't watch television. I don't watch television. I'm too busy reading.
You've watched some Bill Nye.
Okay. All right. We'll have this argument offline. We'll let you know how it goes.
Yes.
How it goes is Robbie will win.
Yes.
And I will feel discouraged. But by this time tomorrow, I aim to be back on my game, my friends.
We're going to watch some Bill Nye this afternoon.
That's what we're going to do. All right. Guys, thank you. We will return tomorrow for the exciting conclusion of Chapter 8. 8.
All right.
If you guys have any friends that you think would enjoy this hoopla rigamaranga, please tell them about it. Pass it along. We want to build our ranks and have more friends here.
We want some more rigamaranga.
Yes. What about the young one?
No.
What?
Where do baby cows go to eat?
Oh.
A cafeteria.
Oh, El Puppy, you are most welcome here. Most welcome.
All right.
You and Robbie are going to start some sort of a...
Girl Power Club.
Girl Power Club.
Yeah.
All power to you.
Yep.
Love you both. See you later, guys.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See
Bye.
you tomorrow.